What up, y'all? It is January 9th, Sunday of 2022. And this is our first official podcast. Not sure what I'm doing or even how I'm officially uploading it, but here we are. So, and it's ironic, kind of. There's like a certain serendipity of the first episode because I didn't plan it or anything. Like I'm totally just winging this shit, 100%. And this morning, sitting in Sunday school, and I came up with the idea because I've been writing down different ideas about what to talk about. And one of the things that came to me this morning was trying new things because it seems to me that many people kind of get stuck in their same old routine and never really expand into trying different shit. You have any thoughts on that particularly?
I just want to start by, hey, I'm Andrea.
And I'm not Tan. I didn't even mention that, so I just assume because who's gonna listen to this at this point?
Who knows? Someone might be listening to episodes down the road and want to start at the beginning and not know who we are. Yeah, so along the line of trying new things, I think this is something that in my life comes and goes. I'm more intentional at certain times, and where I am right now in life, I think I'm probably at a lull. But we never know what we like if we don't try things. We don't know what we're good at. And I think, kind of to your point, talking about people kind of just get stuck is like you just don't try new things. And we can get into more about why that is and what that looks like and what could be stopping people. But when you don't try new things, you're essentially just stagnant. And as we know, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but when you're stagnant, I think we just heard this morning that, like, as human beings, we will always want to grow in different areas of our lives, and when we're stagnant and stuck, we don't jive with that, even though we may not necessarily be aware of it in that way.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
Right. If you look at anything in nature or human life, like, that's how it is. You're either growing or you're dying.
Yeah.
There's no...
Nature's a perfect example. Nature, you can learn so much from nature, but you have to really observe it and pay attention. But that's not what we're talking about today. Shit. What are some of the... Well, one of the things we'll just mention, like, this is a brand new year. We're 9 days into this year. So I'm going to make it a point to try a bunch of shit. I want to try, like, hog hunting out of a helicopter. I don't know necessarily if we'll get it done this year or not. But down in Texas, like, you can go down and, like, shoot unlimited hogs out of, like, a fucking helicopter with, like, an AR-10 and shit and just, like, snipe them. So I've seen videos and it's super cool. It looks awesome. And, like, yeah. But...
Well, and I feel like that one, like, that's a great example, right, of something that you want to try, but that's also very large scale. You can also, like, scale that back
That's
a
me.
ton.
That's me particularly, though. I mean, I'm just in general large scale individual.
Right.
I always do everything. For those of you who don't know me, like, I do everything to the most fucking extreme, and if it's not to the extreme, it's probably gonna be lame, and I don't want to do it. Like, it's just like, for instance, like, we went snowboarding, and after we went out to Colorado, like, now I only want to go out to Colorado snowboarding. Like, that's fuck everything else. It's lame as shit. And then yeah, like any challenges that I do, it's always to the extreme. I never start small. Like I start like balls deep, like inside the fucking challenge. I don't fuck around and like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna run 3 miles. No, I'm doing the full fucking 50 right now. Like I'm not training, I'm going hard. And then, but I was trying these things. Like I had no experience, in any of this shit at all. And I don't like running. I've figured that out. I kind of knew that, but yeah.
And those are just a couple examples in you saying that of things that people can try. Going for runs, trying snowboarding. A few weeks back, I decided I wanted to try a pottery class and just signed up for one and went to one by myself. And someone asked, like, you're going to that by yourself? Like, yeah, like I just want to try it. How do I know that I like this thing if I've never done it and don't try it?
And to that point, like, you know, you can meet a shit ton of new people, which leads to new opportunities, which to leads to like new paths of life. You know, if you're going to the same mundane, pathetic ass job day in, day out, like I have in the past, you never have the opportunity to meet new people. Like you go to the work, go to the job, you work with the same people, you come home, you do your thing, you go to bed, you get up, you go back to that same job, and guess what? Those people aren't doing anything new either. They're just lame and fucking.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most.
That's a generalization,
Yeah.
But generally speaking, yes.
Yeah.
Unless you were being really intentional with going out and trying new things. And I also want to point out too, what just kind of has come to mind, is trying new things doesn't necessarily have to be just a hobby. Like, try new things in your relationship. That's like, this is how we've always communicated, and I see that right now that isn't working. Let me try this way. Or try a new date night place, or do new date night activity. Like, it doesn't have to just be a hobby that you're like going out and trying these new like extravagant things. It could just be, I'm going to try to talk to my husband differently today and see how that goes. I'm going to love my kids differently today and see what that brings me.
I'm going to read a new book to, you know, learn a new concept. And those kind of go hand in hand because, you know, books allow you to be exposed to new things, new ideas, new concepts. There's a book called Love and Respect. A dude from GR wrote it, and it talks about how like women talk, or you know, language, you know, is in love, and then men is more respect. So then when a woman is really bitchy or something, you know, it kind of gets at a man, and then when a man is like, you know, unloving, it kind of gets at a woman. And that's something we tried for a good amount of time, and not everything that you try is gonna stick. And maybe it even works, and still doesn't stick because that actually did some pretty good overall things for our relationship. So just be open to these things. And a lot of it sounds fruity. Like that might be sound like super fruity to you and like retarded because, you know, like, oh, you know, who does that? Or, you know, that's just not what we do in our household or you know, in our friend group or whatever else. Because, you know, people, when you try new things, people will look at you kind of differently. Not in a negative or a positive, you know, aspect, but just different. Because they don't have that type of mindset typically.
Right, and I was saying that speaks, I think, to again like a generalization. But again, generally in society, like when people are trying new things or doing things differently, that's seen can be seen as weird when realistically, I mean, depending on your circle, like in our circle and for our relationship, like trying new stuff isn't weird. Like that's more normal, I think, than not, or we would like it to be.
Yeah, like she told me she was gonna do a pottery cap class, and I'm like, sounds lame. But she, you know, like in that pottery class, they have like so many different. Each hobby or you know new thing has certain intricacies, right? So she might learn something now that I do not know about molding and pottery and like clay and whatever else about this temperature, you know, how it has to dry, or maybe it air dries, or you know, so on and so forth, or they have this type of clay or that type of clay, and you know, a lot of that stuff you can apply to life. There's always life lessons in the processes of certain stuff, like pottery, for instance, or you know, like snowmobiling or snowboarding or weightlifting, and you know, there's always life lessons in every new thing you start. So like every new thing, like expands your mind so much. Whether you stick with it or not, at least you fucking tried it, you know? Like I I have a really bad sense about society, and you know, I just dislike society, overall society in general, so much because they're just so irritating to me. Um but
maybe you can try looking at society in a new light.
that's true. Maybe I could.
But I think too, again, kind of again what you were just speaking to and what came to mind was, even we just had this conversation this morning. Like, well, if we do this thing, which we were kind of unsure about, then we'll know how we feel about it. Right now, we have no clue because we've never done this thing. So how can we speak to how we feel about it, or if we want to do it or not? And so we were like, well, screw it. At this point, like, we'll do it and then we'll know. So even if you try something and you're like, wow, that was like didn't like it, felt like I wasted my time, like you still learned something and took something out of that, I can guarantee you, and that takes the mindset to be able to pull those things out and be aware of that and choose to look at that instead of like, oh wow, I wasted my money or I wasted my time. Like there's something you can pull out of it, like you said, as far as like lessons to be applicable in life. Like there's always something that you can leave with a situation, even if it wasn't like the most ideal or, the most fun.
100% agree. Another aspect of trying new things is for your body. Um, so, for instance, like if you have low energy right now, there's something that can fix that. And then I'm not gonna go deep into health and all that jazz. I'm just gonna, do the general basics. Like, oh, gee, maybe I could change my sleeping schedule or be more consistent, or, like you can fucking adapt anything to your lifestyle that you specifically want to adapt. What works for me might not work for you. There's shit called kratom that can boost your energy, and I don't know a lot about it, but I know some people take it and they say it works great for them. There's B vitamins and whatever else. And I'm just talking about specifically, energy levels. But there's all kinds of shit to like, try for your health. Like, okay, I'm going to try CrossFit. I'm going to try a bodybuilding type of workout. I'm going to try a kettlebell workout. Like, just try different shit and see what jives with you, And then if that gets boring, you can move on to something else. Like, okay, I did CrossFit for 2 years and now I'm going to go do kettlebell and move on with that, or a HIIT workout, or all that shit, or even like diets, carnivore diets, keto diets, Atkins diets,
thinking
fucking
about
shit
too, like smoothies for breakfast, smoothies for lunch,
Yeah,
like a
dude.
bar for breakfast, like just trying out things. Because if you just do the same old routine, the same old stuff all the time, like even with workouts, like if you stick with the same way of working out forever, your body essentially stops growing from that because you're not switching it up enough, you're not changing things up.
Which I'm 100% guilty of recently. So I'm actually like looking for a different workout because I'll just go in there and do my thing, like whatever I feel like hitting. I don't know what I'm gonna hit for the day. I'm just gonna fucking hit whatever I hit as far as lifts, and then move on. And I feel like I've hit a stagnant part of like where my body's not evolving anymore. So.
And your life will show you that, whether it's your body or your relationships or your finances or how you feel about yourself overall. Like when you hit plateaus, when you hit that point of not growing, it will show up in your life. You'll see it, you'll feel it, you'll know it. And I think that comes to, and we'll probably get into this deeper in other shows, other podcasts, but like knowing and having a relationship with your intuition and knowing and being aware, I think, is the first step. Obviously we talk about that a lot, but like when those things start showing up in your life, those aren't things to just ignore or feel like crap about. Like if you see them, that gives you an opportunity to change something, to try something. The essence of this topic.
Also, for instance, I can personally speak from experience. I'm sure we all can, really. The first time you do something, you might not like it in general. And by the way, this hasn't been addressed yet. You're probably gonna fucking suck at it because it's your first time doing it. You're trying something new. So, obviously if there's someone in there that's been doing it for 10 years and, this is your first day, don't compare yourself to that shit because, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't really care if I suck, like, okay, I expect him to be better. He should be better. Like, so I'm not holding myself to him like, oh gee, I'm not as good as he is, so I'm not gonna do it. Like, fuck that shit. Just do it and see where you go. But like when I first started wrestling, dude, I didn't want to match for like the first 2 years, literally. Like my mom pushed me into freestyle because I was such a little shithead, because I needed to get out energy and stuff, and I fucking hated it. I hated wrestling. And now I love the sport. It's funny because we just visited my old high school and I haven't been there in like literally 10 years, and it was fun watching those guys fucking wrestle and shit. And like, dude, that was so fun, And but like my first experience with wrestling was not good. Like, I didn't like it at all. My first 2 years. Can you imagine doing something for 2 fucking years and not winning a match? Like, damn, that sucks. That was a brutal time. But, you press through that. And I'm not saying you have to continue to do something for 2 years, but, at least give yourself a true opportunity to do it. Whether it's like yoga or you know, I don't know, anything really. So snowboarding, skiing, running.
And to that point, like your mind will also try to talk you out of something that's quote unquote scary or unfamiliar or different too. So I think that, like you're talking about, like give yourself a fair chance. Like, and I think some of that again comes down to mindset, because knowing that your mind likes to do things that are familiar and likes to stay safe and likes to keep you small, essentially, it's going to try to talk you out of those things or convince you that it wasn't worth it or convince you that it's not a good idea. And I think that again comes to just, I don't know, trying new things in general, like trying new things as far as like listening and trusting your body, and more than just the mind that's scared.
Um, and just to give a little insight of where we're coming from, like I decided that this year I was starting a podcast. I didn't give myself a specific date. I didn't I didn't no topic, no anything. Like we're gonna talk about anything and everything. Fucking conspiracy theories potentially, how the American society is dumbed down, how to grow. I want to basically. My idea for this podcast is basically to have an impact on somebody's life, to help them. And then, long story short, that life impacts to the next generation, because they heard this, and they're like, wow, yeah, that's a great idea. And then they fucking pass it on to their kids or whatever else, you know what I mean? So, we literally, I mean, because this was for the most part, this was just my idea, and I still don't have a plan. I literally don't know how I'm uploading this shit yet. Like, I don't have cover art. I look at like how to start a podcast, because you Google whatever you want to do. How to start a podcast. You need cover art. You need a recording. You need a name. You need this. I don't have a fucking name for this. Like, literally, I don't know. Not an official name. So, I'm thinking about like the ripple effect, or there's a whole nother concept behind a different idea, like sexy and savage. But I don't really particularly have any plan. Like I'm just freeballing the shit out of this right now, and whatever comes of it, whatever comes of it. But the biggest thing is you fucking start. Like you take that first step. Like you just get your foot wet, and you see where it goes, because otherwise, you're always like, I don't know how to start a podcast. I don't know how to do this. Well, you know how to hit the record button and fucking just talk. So that's where I'm starting. I'm hitting the record button and I'm fucking running it with it. And some people are gonna think it sucks, and some people are gonna be like, wow, it's pretty decent. And well, it is what it is. And the people that yeah, that's it. So.
I want to add to, as far as being like a part of this podcast, this was like a try new thing for me too. Like I am working on speaking my truth and feeling confident in that. And so when he had asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, the mind in me immediately said no. Like I was like, that seems scary. That seems like something that could really put myself out there. I don't know about all that. But I was like, I'm going to say yes right now, because it's putting myself out there. It's trying something new. It's doing something different. It's trying something new, essentially. But again, that I was aware of the fact that like immediately my like feeling or whatever was no, like that's scary. Why would I want to do that? But doing it anyway.
For sure. And as we get into some of these podcasts, the serendipity of life, I want to talk about, like, saying yes to things has led me into so many other random bullshit things that, like, have changed my life.
So they're not bullshit. They're random, but they're sweet.
Yeah, well, yeah, to a degree. But, like how I met Steve on the Boeing thing. We had, like, a competition, and that led me to buy my rental house. And, like, I didn't have, I just said yes. Oh, sure, yeah, I'll do that. Never did it before in my life, but sure, I'll do it. And then that saying yes when I was, like, super nervous, that shit leads into, so many opportunities. Like, I think that's where people really miss out when they work like regular jobs. For the most part, I won't say for everybody. Everybody, doesn't belong going out on their own. But I'm so anti regular jobs, working for somebody else, because there's so much more growth when you work for yourself, because you do have to do new shit all the time. Like you do have to figure things out because you don't have anybody to, specifically answer the questions or do the work for you. Like, you're the guy. Like, you can't go, oh, hey, Mr. Supervisor. No, you're the fucking supervisor, so you're going to figure it out. So you're just like, fuck. Which is great for your brain. Doing new things like expands your mind and neural pathways and all that shit.
Neuroplasticity. No matter how old you are, your brain is literally made to be able to change, and that's what neuroplasticity is. Literally means like neurons, whatever, and then plastic. So it's able to move and be molded and change, and so.
Yeah. And you could get into, there's so much to talk about because you could go into the neural pathways and how people get addicted to the neural pathways. And because that's all about change too, like, and trying new shit. Neural pathways are basically things in your brain. And I'm not a fucking scientist, so, go look this shit up for yourself or ask somebody more intelligent than me. I know enough just to be dangerous. So there's neural pathways in your brain, and your brain basically craves to trace those neural pathways. And so, like, for instance, habits. You might have a coffee addiction or something like that. And every morning you have a cup of coffee. Well, if you don't have your cup of coffee, you feel off and weird or whatever else. And that could be the chemicals, yes, of the caffeine, but it also could be like, the just neural pathways that are creating that particular habit. And when if you have kids, I highly encourage you to like get them to continuously try new things because I've noticed like the kids these days just are like stuck in their one-dimensional world. They're not even willing to try new stuff. Whether it's food or sports or anything, it's kind of lame. So, my mom was a tough love person, and it wasn't my choice to go to wrestling. I wanted to try wrestling, and then I was like, dude, this sucks. And she was like, well, you already fucking started the season, so you're finishing the season. I'm like, oh. She basically tricked me into it, realistically, to a degree. So, because she's like, here, you want to try wrestling? Try means like, okay, if I don't like it, I don't have to do it. Well, yeah, your trying was for the full fucking season, though. Like, I thought it was like, go a couple times and, see if I like it and balance. And I was like, yeah, I don't like it. She's like, well, you're already signed up for the season, so you're going. I was like, well, shit, that sucks. Yeah, But
again, that's something that turned into something that you loved.
Yeah, for sure. I loved wrestling in high school. It was fucking great. And I don't know. I just don't know how far I should go into like these stories because like, these stories will go anywhere and we can get off on a total rabbit trail.
And I think that's where, for us, like going into this podcast and for you guys listening, like you are totally on the journey with us. Like you're going to see the evolution of how we go from now till, whatever episodes down the road. But
yeah, this is ground level. You're seeing everything from the fucking startup. So, if you want to start a podcast, like, do what we did. Fucking hit the play button and start yapping and call it a day. Figure it out after that.
Yeah, and he had brought up a couple of, like, topics for today of, like, what to start with. And then when you said the try new things one, he was like, yeah, like, that's perfect for this first episode. I was like, heck yeah. Like, this is literally what we're doing is trying something new. And why not talk about that the first one out the get-go?
For sure. I just thought it was super cool because it's the beginning of the year, everybody's got this new year, new me bullshit. And, so, hell, why not try this particular thing? Because it's new. But, shit. I don't really know. That's pretty much all I really have to say. It's shorter than what I anticipated, but short and sweet to the point for the most part. Go over the key points. Try new shit because it grows your mind. Trying new things allows you to have new opportunities.
Grow your network.
Yeah, grow. Trying new things allows you to grow your network, grow your opportunity. Trying new things allows you to learn new lessons or things in life in general, not just tools, but, like actual lessons, whether it's how things work or whatever else. And, uh, shit, I think
And
that's,
my encouragement is just do it. Like he said, like you just have to take action. And sometimes that's going to be super messy, but messy action is better than any inaction. And choosing to not do anything is a decision. And most everything that we decide to do, again, whether or not it's like the most fun we've ever had or a situation where we're like, not really what we had pictured, like there are no regrets. Like everything that we have tried and done, like we're glad that we did it.
yeah, and have acceptance on however it works out. I just read a book by a coach of mine, David, the fuck, what's it called? Train of Transformation. So plug. But it talks about the flags, and one of them is acceptance. Just like however things turn out, be okay with not knowing. I'm okay with not knowing how this turns out. I better be able to upload it because I'm type A, so that shit better work really good and go really fucking smooth. Otherwise, I'm gonna have a real fucking problem. But as long as that happens, I'm happy, which is a whole nother thing. Don't be, don't be.
We'll get to that.
Don't rely on your happiness for external circumstances.
But I mean, just in general, I think like the compassionate part of me just wants to say like I know it will be scary. Certain things will be harder than others, right? Like if you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna try to compliment my wife every day, like that might not be really hard, or it might be. Like I don't know where your relationship's at, but some things are gonna be a little bit scarier
and sounding genuine too, like
for that one, yeah. But again, my encouragement is just do it. Like you are gonna learn so much about yourself and learn to like rely and trust on yourself so much more if you're just like out doing the things, and you're gonna feel so much better being like, yeah, I did try that thing. I actually like it wasn't for me, but now I know that. You have data from that experience and from trying that thing about you and your life and what can fit in your life and what can help. So
dude, I just want to vomit like all of my knowledge, like trauma, blah 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 blah.
We'll get there. We've got
like
future stuff.
We'll have to record the next one 20 minutes after this. Yeah, I'm already having fun with this, and I think it's gonna go somewhere good. Definitely. So, because these are conversations that her and I have, we just don't record them.
Or sometimes we do, but then it's literally just like this like hodgepodge mess of like conversation because we didn't plan and be intentional with our time.
Yeah,
we're just
we
like, oh.
We haven't recorded shit in a long time.
Yeah, but we do have them from the past.
Yeah. But fuck, what was I thinking? Yeah, I think that's about all I've got right now. So. On this specific topic, at least.
We haven't talked about this, so I'll just speak for myself for now, and he can chime in if so. But I would also just say, like, reach out if you have any questions about this stuff, or, like, if you're just wanting some encouragement, or say, like, hey, I'm trying this thing. Like, I personally would just love to hear from you guys. I've posted some videos just on my own social media, and I, like, love to have that engagement, and I love to have people's, like, thoughts and opinions and feedback and all of that stuff, so.
Yeah, for sure. Don't expect me to. I might do the shit with you if you ask me to go do something. Like, odds are there's a good chance that I'll fucking try it with you. Obviously, I can't try every single thing that everybody wants to do, but things that pique my interest, shit, I'd definitely do it with you. But don't expect me to lower myself to my effort level to your effort level, or like your level, because I'm gonna go balls to the wall 100% to my personal capability. So let's say I got a buddy that is interested in doing the 50 miler, and I'm not going to slow myself down in order to help him along. Because I'm doing this.
I can verify that.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this shit for me, particularly to grow too. So I'll totally do it with you, but you better keep your ass up, because otherwise I'm leaving your bitch ass. So yeah, I made a few mistakes in doing team stuff in the past. It bit me in the ass. So, it was a bunch of old guys. Shit, they're good dudes though. Shoot. yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. So, again, I'm Montana,
I'm Andrea.
and the podcast name is unknown. So,
This is our nameless podcast.
yeah, if you want to share with your friends or whatever else, do it up. If you don't, okay, cool. And I plan on probably doing this once a week, so just regularly. And they'll obviously get better as we go because we'll learn different shit, come up with a plan, potentially getting some equipment because I'm literally just recording this shit on my phone right now, and then I'll just try to figure out how to upload it. Videos potentially, because I think that'd be cool, and so on and so forth. So, I'm pretty abrasive, as you can probably figure out by now. So, if you don't like that, I encourage you not to listen because I'm just going to get more and more comfortable, and you're probably not going to like me more and more. So, yeah, that's cool. So, any final thoughts, words, questions, theories?
Nope, that's all we got.
Gotcha. All right, cool, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Adios.